Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me, as always, is the new number one LA Lakers fan, Josh Finney.
My fucking God. I want to die.
Should they just be called the Los Angeles Lucas now?
That's what I'm calling them. The LA Lucas. I'm, of course, representing my boy tonight. Not Dallas Mavericks jerseys, but Slovenia. My partner got this for me. She saw the trade and how sad it made me. And you know a trade is bad when you have people you haven't talked to since high school messaging you to see if you're like emotionally okay.
Yeah.
It's pretty bad. So, like, former coworkers I had when I used to work at the arena were messaging me about it. My partner's sister still works there, so she wanted to talk about it at brunch on Monday, and I was just like, I want to die.
Brunch.
I want to fucking die. This is the worst. So,
well, first you went to brunch.
Well, I love brunch, so shut the fuck up. Brunch is great. You're gonna tell me you don't enjoy getting mimosas and pancakes?
I mean, that's just breakfast.
You don't like the omelet station?
That's just breakfast.
It's not just breakfast, it's brunch. Brunch is great.
I can't wait to hear the conversation in the Discord about why are they arguing about brunch for 10 minutes.
It's fine. If you don't like sports talk, skip ahead by a few minutes, because our first question of the night comes from Titan, who goes, I need to hear your take on the trade between the Mavs and Lakers. I'll admit I'm a little biased when it comes to Anthony Davis because he's an alum where I went to college myself.
It was a shocker.
I want to die. This is the fact that people thought that Shams Charania was hacked, and that people like Bobby Marks and Bill Simmons were having to call him to see if he had been hacked before they reported it, is fucking wild. That's how bad this trade was. Yeah. For those who somehow don't know, like you don't follow the NBA, whatever, Dallas traded prized 25-year-old point guard Luka Doncic, at worst the fourth best player in the world, for glass cannon Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and one singular 2029 first round pick from the Los Angeles Lakers. They did not talk to a single other team. They said the deal came together over a handful of weeks. And general manager Nico Harrison is adamant that this made the team better. Defense wins championships, blah, blah, blah. Jason Kidd looked like he was ready to shoot himself in the face during that press conference.
Yeah. To be fair, Luka looked like that on the bench the other day.
Luka has not looked happy. He looked a little happy at shoot around today. I saw a video of it. Luka is said to still be processing it. He's still shocked. Him getting off the plane in LA, that is one of the saddest videos I've ever seen. That dude, his eyes were red and puffy. He looked like he'd been fucking crying on that plane.
Yeah.
It got reported that he was close to closing in on a $15 million home in Dallas, Texas. He just started the Luka Doncic Foundation shortly before he got hurt on Christmas Day, and it is headquartered in Dallas, Texas. He has reiterated repeatedly since the trade, he never gave any, and Nico Harrison has also agreed with this. He has never, ever given an indication that he did not want to stay in Dallas, that he was going to demand a trade, that he was not going to sign the Supermax this summer. Dallas basically refused to pay him, cost him $116 million on the way out the door. He is no longer eligible for the Supermax this offseason, and called him fat and an alcoholic on the way out too. We're about to see the greatest revenge tour in professional sports history. Yeah.
Can they wait till next year, though? Because this is the 1 year the Cavs might actually have a chance.
I don't think they're going to go win the title, although they did. They paid more for Mark Williams than they did for Luka Doncic. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
You immediately get, inarguably, at worst, the second best player of all time in LeBron James, who is still defeating Father Time, still a top 15 player in the league.
I don't understand
pair
that.
Him with maybe the best guard of the last 20 years. Like, you have to go back. I mean, yeah, Kobe's considered a guard. You have to go back to like Kobe in like 2011 to find another guard with the killer instinct that Luka has, I think.
Yeah.
And even then, I think SGA is a better comp for Kobe. Luka has that mentality, but he doesn't play the way Kobe did.
Yeah.
And that's like Luka kind of has it all. And if you're wondering why Mavs fans are so upset, and you're sitting here going, trades happen, it's part of sports. It does, but it's the fact that you traded a superstar who had no discernible problems with this front office. They finally had built a team around him. It was inarguable that we had the best roster in franchise history prior to him getting hurt. You had some limited moves you could make to improve the team also, but if this team could just get healthy, they're 3-1 against OKC this year, for God's sake, and they've been injured in every one of those games. No Luka, no PG Washington in one of those games, no Derek
That's something the
Lively in a
Cavs
couple.
can't say.
Yeah, something the Cavs definitely can't say. They got their ass whooped.
Yeah,
but it's not just trading him away. If you are a professional sports fan, you are lucky to get a player as good as Luka even once in your franchise's history. There are teams like the Lakers who just seem to and I think that's part of what's making people upset too, is it's the fucking Lakers.
mm-hmm.
The Lakers, in terms of getting talent transferred to them, they have gotten Wilt, they have had Kareem, they drafted Magic, they got Shaq, they got Kobe, they got Pau Gasol, LeBron, AD, and now Luka. And I think that really hurts to see, like, a lot of other fan bases were sympathetic. Even Lakers fans were like, this is kind of fucked up.
I thought it was.
It's a guy that we drafted. We really went from Dirk to Luka. We had 1 year of glorious overlap. Like, Dirk's statue outside the arena literally says loyalty never fades away. Luka has reiterated multiple times that he wanted to be here his letter is, I was sad. I had teared up a little. His letter is what made me openly sob. That he wrote and released to the fan base. He said, I am so incredibly sorry I was never able to bring the championship I wanted to this city. And it's notable that in that statement, he thanks the fans profusely. He thanks his teammates. He doesn't make any mention of the coaches in that statement. He thanks the city. He thanked the coaches in an Instagram post the next day. Obviously, no thanks to the organization. Other pieces have come out. People are like, oh, he's pushing 270. I want you to take one fucking look at that dude and tell me he looks like he's 270.
He's not. People are just being
fuck you, Tim McMahon, while we're at it. Fuck Tim McMahon of ESPN. Dude has had it out for this guy his entire career. And it's just like, it's that triumvirate of him, fucking Tim Bontemps, and Brian fucking Windhorst. I'm so tired of those guys. It's just driving the narrative. They're in Nico's back pocket. People are trying to say, like, I think it was Shaq, Charles Barkley, and Perkins are all on this kick of, well, the Mavs are going to be better now in the short term. No, the fuck you're not. That's how Nico tried to defend this. I'm going to stop ranting about this in a second. But he tries defending this by saying, well, I care about, to me, the future is 3 to 4 years. Okay, so you plan on rolling out 36-year-old Kyrie Irving, 34-year-old Anthony Davis, and 40-year-old Klay Thompson. Got it. Guys with stellar injury records, by the way. What you traded for a guy whose nickname is Street Clothes. And here's the thing I feel really bad about. I genuinely feel so bad for Anthony Davis and Max Christie, because if they came in a different way, or there had been more picks attached, we found out that there was supposed to be another first, at least another first, maybe a swap, and Dalton Connect attached, and that didn't happen because Pelinka basically told Nico, either you drop the demand for that, or we're fucking calling Luka's agent right now. We will call his agent and talk to him and blow this up in your face. And Nico, being the idiot he is, agreed. So I feel bad. These guys are never going to be embraced because of the way they got here. And it's funny that, like, people have seen the fan base melting down. And I've seen some comments going, we got a top 12 player back. Like, yes, but there's something about Luka. Luka is one of the most exciting players to watch night in and night out.
Yeah. I mean,
I think
like
there's maybe
said,
two players in the league that are as exciting as him to watch.
I mean,
maybe.
Like you said, you went from from Dirk to Luka, which is like,
yeah.
Like,
we're basically the European farm system, dude.
Yeah.
But he got moved. I'm obviously devastated. Titan. I do really like Anthony Davis. That's part of what makes this hard. I like Anthony Davis. I like the way Max Christie's played this year. He's been great in the 2 games he's played for the Mavs so far. He's been great. He's been great. They made matters worse since this question got asked by trading Quentin Grimes and a second. They gave up Quentin Grimes and a second round pick to get Caleb Martin, who is ass cheeks. He failed his physical so badly today that the NBA told them they had to give up that Philly had to give another pick to Dallas. They had to give them another second. Oh, and by the way, the seconds we picked up are like in 2030 and 2031. We gave up this year's second to get this bum. So no, I'm not handling it well. I cannot support the Dallas Mavericks. I've been asked, would winning a championship change your mindset? And no, it won't. Like, yeah, okay, cool. We'll win the second one in franchise history. First of all, this team's not going to make it to the finals. I'll tell you that right now. Second of all, it means nothing without Luka. It means nothing. I would rather roll the dice if I was given the choice between 2 championships back to back right now or 10 years with Luka on my team and no guarantee of a championship. I would roll the dice with Luka every single time.
Oh yeah,
every single time. Because like now that he's in LA, I guarantee you he's winning the MVP next year. He's winning the MVP no matter what.
And it's going to be LeBron's farewell tour.
I will say this. The greatest thing for Luka's career long term probably is ending up with a psycho like LeBron, a fitness psycho.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is going to FaceTime him and see that motherfucker at In-N-Out or something and be like, no, that ain't the kind of triple-double we need you to get. I'm dead serious. I'm dead ass.
I know you are.
That dude. He's going to get that dude in the gym all summer. And then you have another psychopath in JJ Redick, who's the coach, who is the perfect coach for Luka.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The only far-fetched scenario I can come up with where I would, and it's not even that far-fetched, like the only scenario where I think I could willingly root for this team without Luka in the near future is Nico Harrison has to get fired. And I think he's gone in like 2 months. There was a story that came out that like privately there have been a lot of people in the front office and close to it who felt that Nico did not think he would be here within the next 2 years. He's got to go. It's inarguable. He has to go. And I really hope ownership is so embarrassed by this and the value is tanked so bad that they are forced to sell this team. That is the only way I will be able to root for this team with a conscience is if Nico is gone and the Adelson family sells. So, yeah, I'm devastated. I have to root for the fucking Lakers on top of this. Like, I understand why people follow. I never got it. Why people followed LeBron to the different teams he went to. I understand it now. I get it. This, like, he might be the first player. Well, I won't say he's the first player. I think KD also definitely goes in this category.
Yeah, but KD came after LeBron, though.
Right. I think it's Bron, KD, and, like, Luka are maybe the only 3 players that I have ever seen who have changed teams, willingly or unwillingly, that fan bases will follow that player.
Yeah.
And that's because there's something special about these guys. You're insane to let them walk in their prime. Like, and I will say this, Bron and KD left on their own volition every time.
I'm aware.
Every time they've left on their own. Like, that's what makes this so uniquely awful is Luka did not ask for this. Luka did not leave in free agency. He found out in the middle of the night. They didn't even text him or call him to let him know this was happening.
Right.
That is insane to me. So I'm going to get off my soapbox. Bottom line, I'm really, really sad about this. I'm going to keep being sad about this. Literally a lifetime of Mavs fandom has gone out the window.
Yeah.
Over this. This is soul crushing. This is absolutely soul crushing for me. There's no other way to say it. I have lived through, I told this to Corey and I said this on the Boss Rush pod this week. I have lived through the 2006 finals being stolen from us. I have lived through Nelson Cruz missing the catch in the outfield in Game 6 of the 2011 World Series. I have survived the Russell Wilson interception at the goal line in the 2014 Super Bowl. This is hands down the absolute worst sports moment of my life, and it doesn't even come close. Like, the other 3 combined could not have hurt me as much as this.
Yeah.
So, And I didn't watch baseball for like 6 years after the incident in the World Series. I take that back. I watched Yu Darvish for a couple of years, and then I swore off baseball for a while because I was still so upset about it. It took winning a title finally last year for me to go, yeah, I can root for this team again. Like it took us getting Corey Seager for me to say, man, maybe I can finally root for this team again. And that was right after we just lost like 100 games again. So, like, this is rough. I don't think any fan base in any sport short of Wayne Gretzky has ever gone through this.
Right.
In American sports. So, yeah. Several people in this Discord and who listen to the show did message me. Thanks, guys. You know, I know nobody was everybody was like, damn, I can't believe this. Like, yeah, you can't believe it. Try being a fan. Try being an obsessive fan. I know 4 people who have canceled season tickets already. I know a further 3 or 4 who have canceled TV packages. I'm paid up for the year, so I don't have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
I can't refund the remaining time, unfortunately. I am buying League Pass, though, to watch the Lakers the rest of the way.
Mm.
I'm excited, man. As a basketball fan, I'm thrilled that I get to see Luka the psychopath with LeBron the psychopath. As a basketball fan and as a Luka fan, I'm thrilled. This is incredible. That is maybe the only franchise where Luka would thrive. And they're clearly making moves with him in mind, but they're about to run into the same problem Dallas has always had. Mm-hmm. They have no assets. They have no picks to trade. They have no swap. They really have no swaps to give out. They don't have much.
Right.
So, and Luka can still decline and go and play on an expiring this next year. You know? He can play next year. He has 2 years left on this deal after this. He can play next year, and then he can opt out and sign with any team he wants to, which that seems to be the way that the tea leaves are going, that he will probably just decline to sign an extension this summer at minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Far-fetched scenario, maybe we get insanely lucky and Mark Cuban buys the team back and he decides that he still loves Cuban, which I assume he does. Mark Cuban had nothing to do with this. And decides, well, the Adelsons and Nico are gone. Maybe I'll come back. That's the only scenario. And I think that's incredibly far-fetched. Yeah. Now, I do think his number gets retired no matter what. I think they retire his number as a way to make good down the line, especially if he wins MVPs and titles. So, I don't know. I dreamed of seeing his statue next to Dirk's. And they addressed that on the pregame the other day. Like, this is a fan base that dreamed of seeing a Luka statue next to Dirk's, and that's never going to happen now.
Yeah.
So,
man.
Yeah. Anyways, I've taken up 15 minutes to start this show on this. Thank you for letting me have a soapbox to vent. But we have a great Destiny show for you tonight.
We do. I'm actually excited to talk about Destiny tonight.
We have a very good Destiny show tonight. Heresy has kicked off, and it has kicked off in one of the best ways possible.
I've had a crazy start.
Yeah, so I'm assuming you've played the opening mission.
Yes, I played through it yesterday.
So I've had multiple people reach out to me and all say the exact same thing. This opening mission is better than the entirety of Echoes and Revenant combined. And I
100%
agree. This is a mission that felt like it accurately conveyed the stakes from the beginning. I have to give a special shout out to the voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
Drifter and Eris's voice actors are incredible. Moira in particular, just incredible. Drifter gives maybe the most emotional delivery.
We should warn spoilers, right? Like,
I feel like if you've made it this far, you know there's spoilers. We're going to spoil the fuck out of this mission, though, because we got a lot of questions about this mission. Eris is dead? ? I say question mark because you think she's dead. Drifter has maybe the most emotional scene in the entire series. And I don't say that lightly. This truly is maybe the most emotional moment in the entire series.
Yeah, this was.
I felt more emotion here than when Ghost sacrificed themselves in the final shape. Mainly because you knew Ghost was going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I would say at minimum, this is maybe the most impactful moment emotionally since Cade's death.
I would be hard to disagree with you.
Because I don't know another moment off the top of my head that's as impactful as that.
Yeah.
It's certainly the greatest moment we've seen in any seasonal content in terms of emotion.
Yeah, I would say I would even go a step farther because we knew, like, in the marketing material, we knew Cade was dead, right? Like, we knew he was going to die.
I will say the first, but it was when we saw that trailer though for the first time and found out he was going to die. It was like, oh my god. That was one. Actually, I don't know if I'm going to go this far because man, the flashbacks to Zavala's family in Haunted were really fucking good.
Yeah.
That was a story that we didn't. I don't know. At the very least, it's the most impactful scene in years.
Yeah.
And certainly in a season, I would say since Haunted.
Especially with a character that we've known for so long, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, Eris has essentially been here since the beginning. Got introduced in the Dark Below, guided us through the Dark Below, through the Taken King, showed back up in Shadowkeep to confront her trauma, was a guiding voice in Arrivals, and in Arrivals showed up a little bit in Beyond Light. Was in Haunted. Has been in a lot of the seasons, man. Has been in a lot of the seasons. Been just a huge part of the franchise for so long. I joked the night before this came out that I was like, oh, man, they're probably going to kill Eris off. Like, there's really not much else we can do. I didn't expect it to be.
You said that 2 weeks ago on the show.
I said it 2 weeks ago on the show also. I did not see this coming this quickly.
Yeah.
What a fucking ending.
Yeah.
To that mission. That is just, man, I don't know what else to say.
The mask comes off and she starts laughing.
So
do we want to talk about that?
I do want to talk about that because I don't think it's as cut and dry as some people think. I've seen some be like, oh, dude, she's totally Xivu. No, she's inside her throne world. It confirms a long-held theory that Eris Morn has a throne world. And I think we kind of suspected she had one before. I think it was indirectly assumed she had one following her absorbing Xivu Arath's power in Witch.
Yeah. The
because
thing,
she kills Savathun.
Right. The thing I heard, I think after I played it, I watched a Bife video today, and he said he doesn't know if Eris gets a throne world because she gave up the power. And this would like kind of be kind of like an unprecedented thing.
Destiny's full of unprecedented things, I would say. I think this is definitely something we're going to need to see a little bit more of, but it's very clear Eris is still alive in some regard.
Yeah.
And she's not in the Ascendant plane. So I do think she's in a throne world of some kind. I'd be really shocked if she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
What a fucking cutscene. We did get some questions on this. I want to get to those real quickly. Titan writes in again. I want to hear your theory on how Eris survived and whose throne world she's in. I feel like the opening mission of this episode is already better than the entirety of the other two. Yeah, I think it's hers, but there is a possibility, very strong possibility, that she is in Xivu Arath's. And that this is how we see Xivu Arath's. I would also remind people that she helped fuck around with Oryx's sword to help us make the exotic swords in Destiny 1. I don't know if that maybe ties in, since we know Oryx in some capacity is tying into this season.
Right.
So I will add, if there is any story beyond doing the Nether and getting the Tablet of Ruin out of the rewards, if there's any story beyond that, I am not that far. That is the furthest I've gotten. I have not had a ton of time the last 2 days. I won't go into it in detail, but I'm going through a career change right now, and it's been really stressful trying to get some paperwork together. So long and the short of it is I have not had as much time for Destiny in the first 2 days of a new season as I would like to. Sammy also writes in and says, absolutely love the season so far. A little bummed we don't get the voice acting in some parts, and Drifter's voice lines in this act are heart-wrenching. Either way, great start to the episode. I want to address the no voice acting in some parts. They gave us the notification they turn on subtitles by default. This is due to the ongoing Screen Actors Guild negotiations over AI voice usage. There is a voice actors strike going on, and I assume unionized members who had not already recorded are just not doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because that's crossing the picket line. So that's where we are. I know like individual studios have been reaching agreements. Obviously, Bungie hasn't done that yet. So that's why you're getting that. I do wonder if they'll go. I don't think they're going to go back and re-record them because, like, kind of what's the point
Yeah,
for content that
especially
most of us aren't going to be able to see again?
especially if like whenever Apollo and Behemoth come out, do these episodes go away like seasons, right? Like,
I
you know what I
guarantee
mean?
you they do.
That's what I mean. Like, why would you go record lines for something that's going to go away and you only see once anyway? So
Yeah.
sucks, but also like, the only thing I could see them doing is recording the lines for, how they've been archiving all the cutscenes onto their YouTube channel. That's the only thing I could see them doing at some point. But
Mm-hmm.
at that point, it's like, I don't know if they do or not. I really don't know.
We did get, and we got another question. Fox writes in says, where do you think the story goes from this point? How do you think it will all tie into the grander story that'll be told in Frontiers? And will we ever kill Xivu Wrath? I have no idea where the story is going to go, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, for the first time in a while, we don't.
For the first time in a while, it's unprecedented. We don't
Yeah.
really know what we're doing right now.
It's unprecedented and it's meaningful. It feels like it's
Yes.
going to be meaningful, right? That's the
Yes.
big thing.
There's stakes again.
Yeah.
So many times we complain about the story in the seasons not holding enough weight, not having stakes. Like, even Season of the Witch really didn't have too many stakes until you got to the end. Season of the Wish, outside of the exotic mission, and then you had Crow going through the portal at the end. Like, but then you have Echoes. Echoes really doesn't have any stakes outside of in the Encore mission. Oh, you have to listen to all the dialogue, and that tells you the tragedy of Maya. Revenant was supposed to have stakes, and it comes off, like, I don't know, a wet blanket.
Yeah. But this feels like it has bigger implications than like
it does.
Aramis going back to Reese to rebuild or something, right? Like,
and I think Aramis going back to Reese feels like it's the first hint at what's to come in Frontiers, because they did say there would be little teases in Revenant, but that Heresy was really going to start pushing that forward, pushing the narrative.
Yeah.
And as to will we ever fight Xivu Wrath, I think so. They said that they want this to kind of be the wrap up for the Hive Pantheon, and I just don't. I've always had trouble understanding why you would do stuff like that in content that's going to go away.
Yeah. I wonder if this could be the build up to Xivu Wrath, and then Apollo could be her send off, maybe.
Oh, Jesus Christ, I hope not. If I have to go into another expansion fighting the Hive, I might actually scream.
I mean,
the Hive story is so played out. And that's part of why I was groaning about this season. Like, I was happy to go back to the Dreadnought, but I'm so tired of the Hive and the Taken.
Yeah, but at least they're mixing it up with the Dread this time a little bit.
I will definitely agree with that. I have enjoyed that so far. I think it's a nice, healthy mix of the three enemy types on the Dreadnought. Mm-hmm. That's been fun. We'll get into the Nether here in a minute, but I don't really know. I don't know where the story is going to go. I have serious doubts that we're going to fight Xivu Wrath this season. I just don't think that we're going to. I don't know who we're going to fight. So we're clearly going to fight somebody in the exotic mission, which I'm assuming the exotic mission gives us that dope ass exotic SMG from the reveal stream.
Oh, the circle one?
Yes. I think that comes from the exotic mission because holy moly. We saw Slayer's Fang in the first reveal stream for Act 1 of Revenant. So I think that we're going to see that gun at that point. I don't know for sure. It is not the dungeon exotic. I will say that much. I know for a fact it is not the dungeon exotic. So we'll see. But I think if you were going to fight Xivu, the time to do that was in this season's dungeon. And unless they pull an extremely fast one on us, I can't see us fighting Xivu in this dungeon. Obviously, this could be completely wrong if you're listening to this when the dungeon's out. I could be totally, completely wrong. I kind of expect it at this point. It seems to be my destiny in life. But Xivu, I think you could keep Xivu in the shadows and deal with her down the line, say maybe with Savathun. I don't know why we would do a whole hive themed season if we're not going to take one or two of them out, and yet those two sisters are so important in the overall machinations of the Destiny universe. I hate the idea of taking out major story threats in content that's going to go away.
Yeah.
Again, doing it in an exotic mission is one thing. The exotic missions live forever, blah 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 blah. Savathun's probably going to continue to endure, but
Do you have any concerns about them maybe trying to bring Oryx back?
yes. I mean, they've indirectly confirmed that Oryx is coming back in some regard this season,
Yeah.
and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all. One of the areas you can actually go to in the Dreadnought when you're exploring it is you can get over to the platform that you go into his like mini throne room from the end of the Taken King campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually get over there using the invisible platforms.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know there were invisible platforms, and I just jumped across and then wasted like 4 lives trying to get back. I feel like you're going to be able to go in there because there is a chest of desire right in front of it. If you bring Oryx back, now to be clear, if you fought like a taken vestige of Oryx, I actually think that could be really cool for the exotic mission. But people have been trying to resurrect Oryx for a long time in the lore, and I think that's part of why it annoys me too. Like, for those who don't know, we have 2 dungeons based on this premise already. That's the Pit of Heresy and Ghosts of the Deep.
Yeah.
I am getting really tired of this. Like, Oryx is dead. He's gone. It feels like we're using Oryx as a crutch because, hey, the fans loved Oryx. They loved the Taken King. It's one of the greatest pieces of content Bungie's ever put out. It's up there with the Halo trilogy. Let's go back to that.
Right.
Let's not.
They've already done that with the King's Fall reprise raid, though. Like, they've already done that. Like, I don't know. This is that line where they're like toying with it. I'm like, this is the line you shouldn't cross. There's a way to like appease fans about nostalgia and a way not to. And I feel like that's the way not to, but I don't know if he's going to come back in a major way. I think he comes back for this episode and then goes away. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Especially because like Oryx's body is in the dungeon,
Oceans of Titan.
Yeah, like, and I get this is supposed to be like a spiritual resurrection of Oryx, but still, like, man.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I really don't like it either.
I don't like it. I'm annoyed. Obviously, I'm going to sit here and wait and see what happens because the opening is such a banger.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we thought the opening to Revenant was a banger too. That's what really scares me. Is I was really high on Revenant.
Yeah, but it wasn't as good as this.
It wasn't as good as this, but I still think that there is something that can happen here, and that it just continues to worry me. Now, that being said, I think as you play through the opening, not just the opening mission, but you do the opening storyline for this week, you're asked to go to the Dreaming City and investigate the Spine of Caries. And as you show up there, Sloane is out in the world, and that's a really cool thing that happened. The world has literally been transformed. Because remember, Spine of Caries is an open world open world area, but it is a unique instance for your fire team and your fire team only.
Mm-hmm.
It's how it's programmed. I think that is really cool. You go in there and like the scrying eyes are in the sky, with the dread counter going up. I think it's cool that you got to fight your way through with all the Taken, and as you clear areas, the eyes start to disappear. That was cool. That was a cool little mission. That was a nice way to use these areas that still exist for something meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of what we've been getting at. Like, and it would have been great if the voice acting was there. It would have been even better because, the characters are out in the field with us now. That's cool. That's a cool idea. I liked how, the opening mission, they used parts of the EDZ that haven't been used in ages.
Right.
Maybe ever. I accidentally went down the friendship tunnel and almost died.
Oh,
it's great. I thought the opening mission was very dope, and you you jump through the little Taken portal, and you're doing all the stuff in the Ascendant plane. You come out, and you're on the Dreadnought above Saturn, and everyone's like, "Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?" That was cool. It was really cool that you went in through the EDZ.
Yeah.
Devrim just can't catch a break, man. The dude just wants to sit there and sip his tea and shoot at a couple of Vandals very poorly.
Yeah.
And he just can't catch a break. So
poor guy.
Yeah, poor guy, but man, awesome start to the episode narratively. I hope the missions are as good as these.
Yeah.
If they're as good as these, I've got a lot of hope. So really, really excited right now. I'm fully expecting to see some battlegrounds at some point. I'm expecting it to come.
Oh yeah.
I don't know when they're gonna. I feel like the exotic quest may be in Act 2, because Act 2, we've been told, is only 3 weeks long. I feel like that would be the ideal time to drop the exotic quest.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, maybe do like a series of battlegrounds for the last part of the episode. Give us some things that will endure.
Yeah.
But that also kind of all depends on when Apollo is coming out. There was a date in game that was pointing to the end of Heresy, and it has since been removed. I went and looked for it today and couldn't find it. Ronnie posted it though, and it's 160 days, I believe, from launch, which puts us at July 15th. For those keeping track at home, July 15th is a week and a half before Guardian Con, before GCX. That means you would either be launching the raid 3 days after the expansion, which doesn't make a lot of sense. It made sense with the final shape because you had a final mission to push.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense here from what little we know, at least. And if you launch it the next weekend, good luck. Almost all of your content creators that are like major are going to be at that.
Right.
So what do you do?
Uh,
There's questions as to what do you do, how long you hold off bringing back trials if that's the case. There's a lot of questions to be answered, and also that would point at a mid-July release. I personally think I think Apollo is getting bumped into early fall. It would not surprise me to see Apollo get bumped to like early September to line up with the original Destiny release dates, how they used to be.
Yeah.
If you're going to do 2 a year, that lets you put out 1 in September and like 1 in late February, early March.
Mm-hmm. Which is fine.
Kind of ideal.
Yeah.
You're hitting the holiday crowd, and as soon as you get through the holiday season, you're like, hey, you just got done playing all those games. Why don't you come to play Destiny when it's a really, 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 slow time of year that lets you launch.
Except for this February.
But you're dropping the updates to the raid then with the second pack of the year, which is presumably the light-sized expansion 9 weeks after launch. You're dropping that right around the holidays to keep people busy. You're coming out of that, dropping a new dungeon with whatever behemoth would be, and then that means Pantheon would be coming at like the end of May and would be here for the whole summer. Kind of hard to beat that content lineup if you're Destiny and that's what you're really aiming for.
Yeah.
That's about the only way I see the 2 expansion strategy kind of working. But there's also been some evidence in the data mining that we may be seeing some marathon stuff very soon in the game. There's a rumor going around. We're supposed to have a state of play in the next week and a half or so. They're targeting Valentine's Day, I heard. And it's been almost 2 years. I think you got to show some marathon gameplay or announce a beta or something.
I would say a beta is coming.
We know that Bungie is really rushing to try and get that game out this year too. And I think Sony has issued an edict that it needs to be out this year as well, if we're being totally honest.
Yeah.
So that would kind of be my thing. If you do release Marathon, maybe Marathon is like a July release or something, because it's free to play. Maybe you launch that in June or July. That's your big kind of like summer game. Try and get the summer crowd on board. Or you can come out of like a PlayStation Presents in late May, early June and be like, it's available today. I don't know. Like, do something. They know they have to build this one up more than they did with Helldivers and Concord, I think they know that.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how is Destiny going to suffer to push this forward? Do we maybe see something from Gummy Bear this year? Like, what is the future for live service with Bungie? PlayStation's live service initiatives has just kind of faded away. They're done.
faded away.
There are three live service games that I'm aware of that are still in production with four that are still in production with Sony, and that's Marathon, Fair Games, Gummy Bear, and the Horizon multiplayer game at Gorilla. This is not the Horizon multiplayer game that was canceled with NCSoft.
Right. This is the
This is a total. There were two multiplayer Horizon games.
Right. One was the Nexon
One was
MMO.
an MMO. This one is strictly like a more Monster Hunter experience.
Yeah, which I think is much better for the Horizon.
Much better. Fits the tone of the world. Pretty excited for that. You'll never convince me this is not an industry plant of a franchise, though.
I mean, he did get kind of demoted.
That's yeah. Herman Hulst did just get a little bit of a demotion, which is kind of wild to say, but I digress. You're at a really pivotal point in this console cycle. We're in the back half of it now, I would say. Going into 2025, you're entering the back half, and Sony has Ghost of Yotei, Death Stranding 2, and Marathon on deck for this year. So I think they really need Apollo to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it hits, it's the start of a brand new story arc. Luke Smith talked about it a couple years ago that they needed an opportunity to rework the New Light experience. I don't think it's ever coming at this point, but if you were going to do it, now is the time to do it.
I think this is the perfect time to do it.
This is the last chance you have to do it.
Yeah, and do it right.
Yes, and you have to do it right on top of that. I don't want to be a doomer because I'm very excited about Heresy. But there are considerations that have to be taken in with the staffing they have and going forward. I think if you can have banger seasonal content like this, we know there's only going to be 2 seasons a year. If you can get a story like this out, like something that has emotional stakes in it that launches maybe like 2-3 weeks after the mini expansion does and the raid does, and that can kind of build off of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you could be in such a good place.
Yeah.
Such a good place.
I know traditionally they've launched the season like a week after the expansion comes out, or sometimes the week of, but
it's almost always the week of.
Yeah. I think they need to release it maybe a month after, let people get into the raid or the dungeon, let people experience the content that came with the expansion.
It lets you keep people coming back too.
Yeah.
Which is going to be more important than ever with not as big of expansions, less content, less seasons. It's going to be more important than ever, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'm interested to see what path they go down there. But let's get into this nether activity.
Yeah.
This is how you properly reuse an existing space. The Castellum on the Leviathan was not it.
Yeah.
This is how you do it, though. This is awesome.
Yeah.
This is a really, really cool experience. I've started in 2 different places with it. One time we started in the final room that you're in. One of the final rooms. You're starting in the Court of Oryx giant open area. The other time, almost every other time, I have started at the portal that you used to go into the Ascendant Realm for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the areas you go to throughout these missions are, you go to the bulkhead where the Cabal ship had crashed. You go to the old prison cells from the beginning of the Darkblade strike. You go out on the outside into the original little mazes and the invisible platforms. There's some really cool areas in this, and I hope this area continues to evolve because there are still areas blocked off. There's areas in the ship that are blocked off by taken fields, and there's various portals that you can't go through yet. There's a huge Ascendant Plane area you pass through multiple times that, there's really only a point A and point B, but you can clearly see where other portals are supposed to be. I'm really curious to see how this event evolves, not just in Act 1, but throughout the episode. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. This is kind of the best of all the seasonal activities they've done, I feel.
It's interesting. For sure.
It kind of feels like you took Haunted. You took the Castellum event, you took the Coil, and you kind of took Prison of Elders in some regards and kind of threw them into a blender and said, here's what we got. You kind of did the best you could do here, and I really like it. I want to see it evolve. There's secrets, there's chests to find, there's materials, there's mini bosses. Like there's one where it's a secret you can do. You can lead a cursed thrall to, you can keep killing it, but you can lead it to some worms. It'll eat them and become an acolyte, and then you can lead the acolyte to another set of worms. It'll eat them, become a knight, and when you kill the knight, you get a chest.
Ooh.
There are worms there's taken worms you can find throughout the dreadnought also, that are, they give you upgrades in the tablet of ruin menus. There are so many cool secrets to this already. This is kind of the dream for those of us who like secret hunting.
Uh-huh.
But you don't have to do it all if you don't want the best of everything. I think the idea of putting adept seasonal weapons in here is really, really cool.
Yeah.
That is going to keep people playing. I mean, you can get the double perk weapons to drop still, but if you're doing it on master, you'll get those double perk weapons, but you also have the chance for them to drop with that special skin, like Into the Light.
Uh-huh.
So it's bragging rights, and they're only going to drop this episode, and blah blah blah. I think it's awesome. I think that is really, really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying my time in the Nether. I need to play more. I've only gotten 3 full runs in so far. I've gotten a couple partials due to DCs, or I had a power flicker once. Horrible time to do that. But I think overall, like, it's been really good. I like the arsenal so far. I don't know if I'm really in love with much outside of the AR and the machine gun, but those two are awesome right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that healing AR, man, you can use it for offense or defense. There are some really good offensive perks. There's some awesome defensive ones. I'm really, really looking forward to getting to use these weapons a bit more. I need to do more testing. You guys know how it's gone with episodes. We're going to wait. Give me a couple weeks to play with these weapons, and then we'll tear it apart in week 3 of this episode. But man, it's so good right now. Everything is so good. I'm really enjoying this.
I really feel a lot better right now about Destiny. Compared to the last 2 episodes. I mean, not like Destiny's back, but like, I feel better in the trajectory they seem to be moving. And if everything that happens, like what we just discussed, like if you can just like piecemeal this out, not every expansion has to be this massive thing, and it doesn't look like it's going to be anymore for the time being, at least, right? Like, but like, if you're delivering this type of content and this type of story, like throughout little bits and pieces throughout the year, people are going to come back to see what happens at the very least, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Good on Bungie for this opening.
Yeah, good on Bungie for the opening. Again, there's some weapons out there that I'm really, really liking. Adamantite, which is the auto rifle. I got one to drop with Circle of Life and Reciprocity on it. Very excited to play with that one. I got the LMG. I got one last night with Ricochet rounds, Wellspring, and Jolting Feedback. So pretty excited for that. Jolting Feedback is just, oh god, you talk about one of the S tier perks since Beyond Light, or not Beyond Light, god.
Into the Light?
Into the Light. One of the best new perks over the last year of content. That has to be close to the top of the list for me. Got several of the new grenade launcher that I want to try. This is the We Have Witherhoard at Home grenade launcher. Another one of these. We got the Lost Signal one, of course, 2 seasons ago, and then last season we got the VS Baton out of the Vespers Host Dungeon, which I still, to my great shame, do not have a good one with attrition orbs. Still very upset about that. I got one with Elemental Healing stats for all. I've got one with Demolitionist stats for all, and Elemental Honing. They keep giving me stats for all and all these, but Elemental Honing, very excited about this one. Dealing unique elemental damage grants this weapon a stacking damage bonus. This bonus is increased for kinetic weapons. Very, very curious to see how that one plays out. And then, man, down in the heavy category, I haven't played with Abyssal Edge just yet, but there's some spicy perks there, I think. The linear with particle reconstruction this season, linears are they're gonna be the heavy choice, I think, for a lot of activities. This one, chain reaction subsistence, okay. Frenzy field prep, okay. Was not super thrilled about so I got a masterworked one to drop with Reservoir Burst and Ambitious Assassin. Not excited about Ambitious Assassin because I ain't gonna be killing things with this. So it is what it is. I'm interested to play with it. I want to see how these all play out, but yeah, the weapon suite definitely is getting me more excited than I was for last season. I think last season's was rough to say the least. There were very few that I was actually excited about last season, if we're being totally honest. I think that really the Arc Pulse Vantage Point may have been the only one that I was really excited about, and I had jolting feedback stats for all on that. I love that bad boy. But yeah, there's some really good ones. Some really good rolls on these guns. I'm excited. I think they've been cooking a little bit here.
Good. I mean,
so we've needed it for a long time.
Yeah, we've needed all this for a while.
We've needed it all for a while. Trying to think. I missed a lot of the live stream last week. Just there was a lot going on in the chat that I was in. I caught up afterwards. One of the things that I was asked to talk about, though, you can already guess who asked the question.
Oh boy.
Jiggly Panda writes in, big surprise, and asks what we think of this brand new set of crossovers from a galaxy far, far away. The Star Wars crossover is officially live. I fell to my knees. I don't know if you guys know this, but one of the only franchises I care about as much as Destiny is Star Wars. Star Wars is my first love. If you see around my office, you can see some of the background behind me, but there are tons of Star Wars action figures up on my desk, on my walls. I have like 3 tubs of all my action figures and ships from when I was a kid that are sitting in my spare closet. I have Legos everywhere. Like my kitchen has Legos up above the cabinets of the ships. I fucking love Star Wars. I hate this crossover.
I hate it.
I
wasn't sure where you were going with that for a second, Josh.
I have told you guys before how I feel about bringing armor from other franchises into here, especially when it doesn't look like Destiny armor. This armor is a choice.
Oh my gosh, it's awful.
I will say at least the Shadow Stormtrooper armor doesn't look awful. I think the Imperial Guard set does fit for Warlocks. I don't know why we've got a Stormtrooper as the Titan. I have no idea why this is a thing.
I don't know.
I don't like.
Couldn't they have given us like a Mandalorian set or something cool?
No, that would have been a hunter. The problem is almost anything you do from Star Wars fits as a hunter. I would say the most you could have done is like maybe 3 Mandalorian sets and given y'all the heavy trooper, given us the actual Mando set, and given Warlocks maybe the armorer.
Yeah.
That would have been about all I could really envision happening. And here's the problem. Some of these cosmetics are actually really good. The Death Star Ghost is awesome.
I'm not denying that they're good. I just hate that like Destiny
I hate that this is where the effort is.
Yeah.
This is also the most expansive crossover they've ever done. There are 3 armor sets. There is a Ghost. There is a speeder bike Sparrow. Darth Vader's TIE Fighter is a ship. And then there are 3 finishers and 3 emotes. The lightsaber dual emote. Okay, it's a thing. It's cool. The training remote from, episode 4. That's a thing. There's an unlimited power finisher, which I think is actually kind of cool. I sound like the fucking fun police here.
I don't think you do.
I think I do. I think I sound like the fun police. I think I sound like fucking Paul Tassi complaining about everything. I just don't like this. I realized the only crossover I've ever really been like, yeah, that's fine, was Mass Effect because it felt like it belonged.
Yeah.
And
I'm still flying.
that's with me saying that after the Garrus mask scared the shit out of me.
It's fair. I do still fly the N7 ship that they gave us.
I mean, why wouldn't you? It's great.
That's amazing.
So yes, I don't know. I do not like this. No, I don't know what other crossovers they're going to do. My answer is almost always going to be the same for crossover. I just don't like it. I would rather see this effort go into original material. Like I see some of these armor ornaments and some of these weapon ornament. Like I see weapon ornaments in game, and I'm like, damn, I really wish we could earn some of these.
Yeah.
That was a discussion that was happening in the Discord this week too. Like, man, can we just earn some of this shit? There are like 10 pages of Eververse cosmetics just for Act 1. And you know they're adding more with Act 2 and 3. And it continues to be frustrating to see, knowing that we could have so much cool shit to earn, and instead you have to pay for it. Like I think Marvel Rivals has done an okay-ish job with giving away stuff. Like you get nameplates and sprays for free all the time, but they've also given away a couple of skins. There's some you can earn just through playing the game by doing challenges and whatnot, and then there's some that are tied to actual quests.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that so far. I think there's like 10 or 11 skins you can get for free in that game through various methods. And that's a game that just came out. Like, dude, we need to earn more armor in game. Whether you want to put that in the pass, whether you want to put that in the game, we need to earn more. But I will say, at least this season, you have the base armor. You can't earn them yet, but there are ornaments in the pass. Well, I guess you can earn them if you just blow through them. You can earn the new Trials armor when it comes out. There was one other set of armor that I'm forgetting besides the Star Wars armors. I don't remember what it is. I'm sure Guardian Games is coming up. Guardian Games is going to have another set, but you can't earn it. You're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's just where I keep coming back to. Like, there's some cool, like the class item exotic ornaments are actually really cool. I love the Hunter Cloak. The Hunter Cloak feels very Mass Effect to me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is cool. Like, it doesn't really go with much else, but it really fits Mass Effect. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I don't want to pay $6 for it.
Right.
Like, that's a little on the less egregious side of pricing. Man, I'd really like to be able to earn some ornaments at some point.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
It'd be really nice to be able to earn some stuff again. So, yes, I do have a problem. I do complain about it. It's what it is. Something else that came back this season. I haven't gotten to play with too many of these weapons yet. Season of Arrivals. Reprised weapons are back. I have gotten the bow to drop a couple times. I got the sword to drop a few times. I got one fusion rifle. Still waiting on ye old Cold Denial to drop for me. Very excited for Cold Denial to come back. Really, really want to see that. Vault of Glass weapons are reprised also. And I'm getting some farming in post dungeon. Once I get through the dungeon, I plan on farming out Vogue early next week. Hopefully, I'm gonna get in there and get some patterns. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. Vogue is always fun to play. I don't care what anybody says; it's always fun.
Yeah. No, I agree.
It's an old classic for a reason. I also like that now the memento is not tied to having to go flawless in the raid. You will get it guaranteed for a completion on Master, and you will get a chance for it to drop on Normal, which is cool.
That's good.
So, pretty excited.
Cool.
Like that. The new Trials armor looks really cool. There's a mock-up of it in last week's TWAB if you haven't seen it. Lodestar is the other exotic. It is the one that is in the pass. I think that's really, really cool. It is a primary weapon that shoots special it's a special weapon that shoots primary ammo. Primary ammo trace rifle. Shoots a beam of arc energy from the hip or a burst if you aim down sight, and all arc damage sources will charge its unique arc alignment meter. When filled, do a special reload to overcharge it and jolt enemies when you hit them again. That thing fucks. I've seen people just messing everyone up with it. One of the other things I wanted to call out real fast, of course, since we do the show every other week, I gotta go call these out as quickly as I can. I really like a lot of the mods this season. I think the mods are awesome, especially when you get into those last two columns. I think Dreadful Finisher is really cool. Defeating powerful combatants with your finisher spawns special ammo for you and your allies. Defeated subjugators, tormentors, or champions spawn more ammo. Very excited for that. Particle Reconstruction, of course. Dealing sustained damage with fusion rifles or linears. Partially refills the ammo magazine from reserves and grants bonus damage for a short duration against that target. You're about to see a lot of swapping between fusions and linears.
Yep.
Malign Harvest, rapidly applying volatile, causes your next instance of void weapon damage to create a weakening burst. Elemental Supercharger is one. Heavy Ordnance Regeneration. Flashover. I like Flashover a lot. When you gain maximum bolt charge, you also become amplified. Lightning bolts deal more damage. Defibrillating Blast, stunning a champion, grants maximum stacks of bolt damage, triggers an arc bolt that heals you and jolts combatants that it damages. I think that's cool. Nobel. I love the name of that. Nobel. Rapid Glaive melee final blows grants special ammo glaives additional ammo. Blocking damage with glaives increases their melee damage to targets. That's cool. There are so many good ones in here. And then on top of that, there's new weapon mods coming. I really like that. These are fragile weapon mods. There's 2 in Act 1, more available in upcoming acts. These are going to expire at the end of the episode, and they can only be put on these new weapons. One of them is Power of Resolve. Rapid hits with this weapon create a Taken Seeker projectile strong against unstoppable champs. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's cool. So, and that also allows you to basically make any weapon an unstoppable. So that's cool if you don't want to run, Unstoppable Fusion or Unstoppable Glaive. So I think that's cool. I like the idea of customizing. There are also some ghost mods you can get that are fragile for the season that'll help you in your Dreadnought exploits. There's a lot of stuff to like here, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. I think there is.
Yeah. There's a lot to love here. I, again, very, very excited. I don't know what else we've got to cover from last week. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, no. So, all right. And then this week, there's really nothing this week because, hey, the season's out. Go play it. Sunder Doctrine, the dungeon trailer is out. If you aren't planning on jumping in tomorrow, you can check that out. I personally have not watched this. I just know where it takes place and kind of want to go in and just be really surprised when I jump into it tomorrow evening. I don't really see the point in releasing a trailer right before the activity comes out. This isn't like we're teasing a whole season. You're teasing something that's available right away, which is kind of weird to me. There are 3 there are 3 emblems you can get, which are the Trionic Amber emblem, the Gloaming Dark emblem, and the Heretical Halation emblem that are all for either watching Twitch streams or gifting subs. And I think these all look really cool. Especially the Gloaming Dark. I think that's really cool. It's essentially the Dreadnought.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. And then, of course, ye old Taken King on Heretical Halation. So that's cool. I like that. If you are planning to jump into the dungeon tomorrow, or if you're listening to this and you're planning to do it, there are 5 currently disabled items. One is Microcosm, which is disabled across the entire game. And then in contest mode, for the duration of contest mode, auto-loading holster is disabled. The boost from Volatile Marksman's artifact mod, class-specific exotic glaives, and Lord of Wolves. Lord of Wolves is melting the Templar and Vault of Glass in like 15 seconds.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, man, Lord of Wolves. I should maybe bust that out. Some old school. But then I'm like, meh. It's Lord of Wolves, man.
Yeah, Lord of Wolves. So the clip got posted of that, and the D2 Team Twitter account replied to it and goes, what is this? And it led me going like, man, what year is it? It's been a couple years since we had Lord of Wolves completely break something, but here we are. Lord of Wolves is breaking the game yet again.
I don't recognize this place.
I find it interesting that they're only disabling this stuff in Sunder Doctrine. They're not disabling it anywhere else, which is cool. So if you want to go get your VOG on this weekend, if you don't have if you're not jumping into the dungeon, or you get your dungeon run done and you just want to kind of chill, this would be a great weekend before they get rid of this gun to go farm out the Templar and get as many of those patterns as you can.
Yep.
I know I plan on trying to get in there either this weekend or early next week to do that. We also have the Delver title coming out. It is the dungeon. That is very cool. I like that. The symbol for it looks like a bisected or a trisected worm from the little museum that Rolk had. So kind of curious to see how that plays out. And then Heretic is the title for this season, of course. There's a great little emblem available in the shop. It's a cat. It's two cats playing with the yarn. I have a black cat who has a red collar, so I kind of have to go get this emblem. My partner may never forgive me if I don't get it.
Yeah. Couldn't see that ending well. Better go get it.
Something I do want to hit real fast here regarding the Nether. So if you've gone in there with a healing build, you probably realize that things are not healing properly in there. Empowering Rifts really aren't working. Heal Clip marginally works. About the only thing that is consistently working. Actually, I don't know if there's anything that's consistently working that I've seen.
I saw people using Crimson in there.
Crimson, that's what it was. Crimson will fully heal you. This is Bungie's official statement on this. With the release of the Nether, we're looking to treat health as a resource players need to monitor throughout gameplay. At this time, healing-centric builds and options, perks, exotics, abilities are not working as we'd intended. Additionally, we are aware that many healing-centric builds are difficult to see or feel with Guardian health being increased by 200%. Overall, the health bar contains 3 times your normal health values, so healing feels fairly low and slow. We're looking to take the balance pass quickly and are targeting a patch as early as next week to address these issues. That's good. I don't think that it's super oppressive right now if you're doing this on normal. If you're doing it above normal, I definitely see where this is a problem. On normal, though, with a competent team, I don't think you're having many problems, if any, in here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's good that they're addressing it.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. They build it as this huge thing in the stream, and then it doesn't work as intended on day one.
Yeah. Well, better get that patch out quick then, I suppose, right? People are...
I will definitely say they need to get it out quickly, but I don't... Again, I don't think this is like a huge deal for a competent team. And also, like, at least this is happening the very beginning of the season and not like halfway through.
Yeah.
And they're not saying, oh, it's going to take us a few weeks to fix this. Suck it up until then. I do realize that for many average or below average players, they are really going to lean into those healing builds. And they deserve to get to enjoy the game too. So, here's hoping that, this gets dropped by Tuesday reset, which I think is probably the goal. They say early next week. I would imagine that once the dungeon is out the door, then they can get this fix implemented and tested. But this is why we have QA, guys. Oh wait, we don't have that anymore.
Rip.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
Sorry. I mean, I didn't fire them. I didn't buy, 37 million cars.
Jesus Christ. Let me get back to the Schwab list. For those wondering why Microcosm got disabled, Microcosm was letting you get heavy ammo from special bricks, which is wild. It led to a very funny error on my screen because I knew it had been disabled and I forgot about it. And I logged in yesterday to run some Nether with A1 Johnny, and I was sitting at 1762 power. I was like, what the fuck happened to my game? Like, I restarted my game, I restarted my console, I couldn't figure it out, and he was like, oh, dude, you have Microcosm attached still.
That would do it.
Oh, dude, I couldn't log into Nightfalls. I couldn't do anything. I was restricted from doing everything at that point. It was bad. It was real bad. Also, class-specific weapons, the swords and exotic glaives can be used with any class, which is really funny. It's not intended, but I feel like we're in 2025. It's time to let those be used on any class at this point.
Oh, man. Good times.
There was something else I was thinking of, but yeah, that's gonna get us through. That's gonna get us through both of the TWABs here the last couple of weeks. But man, what a hell of an intro to the season.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is one of the shots in the arm that Destiny really desperately needed.
Yeah.
Like, just not to mince words, things were bad. Things were real bad. Even the most dedicated players that I know were finally playing other games. And when you're losing them, that's a pretty bad sign. Like, that means you've really gotten into a rut. I think we all agree that the storytelling has gotten a little bit stale in regards to seasonal activities have felt stale. The Nether feels like the first truly unique thing we've had since the Coil. And that's a good thing, but it also shouldn't take us more than a year to get an event like that.
Right.
I mean, I guess I shouldn't say that. Onslaught was also unique, and then they shoved it down our throats a second time 5 months later. So, but yeah. I mean, the point remains. Like, there are unique activities you can do, and I think activities like the Nether are things that when you do these 2 seasons a year type deals, these are things that would enable those seasons to stay around longer, I think.
Yeah.
You could leave seasons in for like a 2-year period or something, like put them on a revolving, like, oh, it's been a year since we released this content, we're going to go ahead and take it out. It's free content, though. I don't know why you wouldn't just leave it in. Because the game starved for content. Nether is an awesome activity. It's the only thing that I've seen of any of this where I'm like, yeah, I want that to stay.
Yeah, it's cool.
Like, if we didn't already have Onslaught, I think Prison of Elders would have hit a little bit differently. Because it would have been like a boss rush mode, but also it just kind of sucks after we've done Pantheon. We're like, oh, really? Like, this is what you gave us?
Yeah.
I did get my Kel's Vengeance run in, though, over the last couple of weeks. Man, that thing is rough if you don't know what you're doing. That the second boss in there was the one that seemed to give us the most trouble because you're on a time limit. It's one of those you have to fly through and finish.
Yeah.
And it's by far the arena with the least amount of cover. So that was definitely a challenge, but taking down Skolas for real, kind of cool. He definitely has that Nezarec laugh at the end, though. So I'm sure we haven't seen the last Skolas. I don't know why we keep seeing Skolas. I'm so tired of this guy.
I mean,
he got brought back just to be Fickrell's bitch boy and still hang out in the Prison of Elders.
Asset reusage.
Yeah, I did like the joke that I saw. I'm just kind of rapid firing off some thoughts and some comments that I've seen. A joke that was going around the community when they showed off the Star Wars cosmetics was, well, that's going to single-handedly fund getting Wrath of the Machine into D2.
Oh, jeez.
If that's the trade-off I have to make to get Wrath in here, go for it. Just do it. Just do it. If I got to sit through more of these crossovers in order to get Wrath in here, let's go. Like, what would you guys like next? Blade Runner? Terminator, Alien? Like, what would you like next? Because if it's going to fund me getting that brought to D2, then I'll be very happy.
I mean, it's fair. What are the chances we get an intergalactic Heresy Prophet or whatever that game is called that Naughty Dog's working on, that crossover with some Adidas and maybe a Porsche to drive?
That's like at least 2 years away, but rest assured it's coming.
Yeah.
A little surprised we haven't gotten a Helldivers crossover yet. I really thought Sony would be pulling the trigger on that one.
Yeah. Well, they're working. Helldivers is trying to survive their own Killzone crossover, so
that's true. But I do feel like that's probably the next crossover in the works is going to be like Helldivers, Killzone, and Resistance, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, And Helldivers.
They'd
I
have to
guess,
acknowledge
makes
that
sense.
Resistance actually existed, though.
Yeah, they don't want to do that, though.
No, they don't.
They don't want to do that.
No. I had one other thing that I was going to read off.
The Resistance 3 box art was cool.
Resistance was cool. I really liked that. Yes. Ronnie messaged me this morning and says, "All right, bro, they cooked with this one. Week 1, even without the voice lines, has been better than the first 2 episodes. Weapons, weapon design, story, new vendor, activity, secret bosses, chests for loot, and then it was just a gif of the guy with the giant wok cooking." I echo that. We talked a little bit about that. I definitely agree. He says, I just hope when they bring the healing weapons and things back to how Bungie intended, I hope it doesn't deplete the challenging aspect of it, which I don't think they're going to do. I got messages from him. I got some from Saint. We do actually have one more piece of news we need to talk about. I can't believe I almost forgot this. I remembered this because I opened up my DMs. Lead weapons designer Chris Proctor has officially left Bungie.
Yeah, I saw that.
Chris Proctor technically tendered his resignation back in December. He has officially left as of today. He says in 2 weeks he's moving to another continent, I believe, and in 4 weeks he can announce his next role, or it's like 4 and 6, something like that. What the fuck? I find myself wondering where on earth is he going to, that he's moving to another continent.
Is he going within Sony? Because like that would be like if Guerrilla's working on that Monster Hunter game, that would make a lot of sense.
There's 3 possibilities for me. If he's staying within Sony, I think your only real, and I mean him saying he's going to be in another country, your only options are Guerrilla or Haven, which is set up in Montreal.
Oh yeah, they probably really want that
yes,
to work, right? I mean,
the one that I think is the dark horse, and one that I'd be willing to throw out there, because I feel like if it was in our Sony studio, he would have announced it. I feel the one that is kind of going under the radar, Machine Games.
Oh, for like a Quake, that rumored Quake.
Yep. They are rumored to be working on a Quake reboot. We know they're working on a multiplayer experience of some kind. Why not bring in one of the most celebrated weapon designers in the industry?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what I would be doing, at least. I do find this really weird. He just became he was one of the weapons sandbox leads before that, and he became the overall weapons lead not even a year ago. And he's out.
He must just not wanted to deal with the stuff that's going on there. You know, I mean,
so I wanna pull up this exact story. I want to read from this. It got reported on Game Post. I really hate using Destiny Bolton for things, but it was sourced from his LinkedIn. He posted it on Tuesday, February 4th, the same day episode Heresy launched. His statement said, working at Bungie at all is the job of a lifetime. Sandbox design even more, let alone owning Destiny weapons for 5 years and ending up as Sandbox craft lead at a studio with a legendary grasp of core gameplay. It's been a humbling experience and the time of the biggest growth in my career. I cannot recommend Bungie highly enough as a place to do some amazing work with some of the most skilled game devs in the industry. Today I did something I didn't think would ever happen. I resigned from Bungie. Well, actually, I resigned in December, but today was my last day. In 2 weeks, I'll be living in another country, and in 4 weeks, I'll post an update from a new role. For those who do not know, Chris Proctor joined in 2019, right before COVID, joined in the aftermath of Shadowkeep coming out. And over the years, some of the things he has done that you guys love, the Hawkmoon rework, Cloudstrike, Dead Man's Tale, Forerunner, Osteostrega, Quicksilver Storm, Buried Bloodline, and Euphony most recently. I feel like this SMG is kind of his farewell letter.
mm-hmm.
Man, you want to talk about massive losses. This guy last May 2024 transitioned from weapon features lead to sandbox craft lead, and he was only here for 7 months. And he did that job for 7 months and said, I'm out of here. That is crazy to me. That is absolutely insane. For those who don't know, before he joined Bungie, he actually worked at 343. So he was sourced directly from 343. And yeah. Another dark horse. I can't believe that we both forgot this. The Coalition.
Yeah.
Coalition is working on Gears. Could be doing that. He already has a relationship with Microsoft and with the Coalition. Coalition worked on Halo Infinite when he was there.
Yeah.
Well, when he was at 343.
Yeah, I mean, they could probably use some interesting new weapons, especially if E-Day is going to be the rumored kind of soft reboot of Gears that people seem to think it is.
Yeah, I have a hard time imagining he's leaving for something that isn't a comparable position.
Yeah.
Those are maybe the only 4 studios I would throw out there. I would maybe again, this one I feel is a bigger reach than any of the others, but maybe Arcane. They are working on Blade.
You know what I was actually thinking just now is CD Projekt Red and the Cyberpunk sequel, maybe.
So that one's interesting to me because I don't know that would require moving countries. Because Robert Brooks, who used to be one of the narrative leads, was the guy behind Crow. Did a lot of Crow's seasonal storytelling, who was laid off from Bungie, is on the story team for Project Orion, the Cyberpunk sequel, and is still living in Seattle.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of wondering if that would require Proctor moving. There are CD Projekt Red offices in Boston and in Santa Monica. So
yeah,
I don't know if that would require him moving. And of
Yeah,
course,
but
this is us assuming that he's staying with shooters. Also, I should make that really clear.
yeah, and it's also assuming that he's moving out of the country for work reasons and not the other reasons why many people might or might not be leaving the country.
Right. Right. We're taking all this at face value. So
yeah. I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, a lot of the weapons over the last 5 years have been really cool. So
yeah.
Good for him, though.
I would say we rediscovered over the last 5-6 years what it meant to be called an exotic.
Yeah.
I think we had gotten pretty stagnant there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I mean, like you had things like in the first year of D2, you had things that were unique, like Legend of Acreus, which is heavy shoddy. But shotguns were in the heavy slot back then.
Oh yeah.
You had Whisper of the Worm, but that was really like Dead Spindle and Black Hammer just upgraded. That's really what Whisper ended up being. It was like kind of like the perfected version of those.
Mm-hmm.
Outbreak Perfected was originally Outbreak Prime. Trace rifles didn't really hit at first. I would argue that like really one of the first weapons that made us go, oh, this is a true exotic was 1K with Forsaken, and then in Shadowkeep you got Divinity.
You mean you didn't think Darcy was a good enough exotic, Josh?
No. Not even a little bit. But I think there's been some over the years, but we'd really gotten away from that idea. We run off that list, and that's not all of the ones that have been awesome. I mean, I would add Ruinous Effigy in there, like that have been done in his time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ruinous Effigy is another one that has to go on that list as something truly unique. What else would I put? I think Heart Shadow is pretty unique. I like that one, even if it's not like super mega OP. I think what it did, they basically took the Night Stalker class and put it in a fucking sword. Like that's cool. I know I'm forgetting other exotics that I'm just like completely blanking on right now. But it was cool to see things like that, and I think he's had a hand in a lot of things that we've come to love.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Chris, all the best to Chris Proctor. I mean, this has been a steady stream either between layoffs or people leaving over the last 15, 16 months. We've talked about it before, but when this happens, when people either leave or get laid off, and there's no one to really replace them, you're losing so much knowledge in terms of game dev and what makes
Mm-hmm.
things tick. Like Chris just got it.
Mm-hmm.
He just got what made an exotic weapon special. That's a big loss. I mean, now that's him gone. That's Joe Blackburn. We've lost a lot of all the QA teams are gone at this point. We've lost a lot of the story team. It's rough. Like
It's
things are rough. Like we can sit here and say, man, the opening to this was really cool, and this is probably some of the very last story content that any of the folks laid off in either last fall or that their content's probably already out by now, or that got laid off in the July layoffs. This is probably the last content they actually worked on.
yeah.
We know some of them have talked about that they were in meetings for Frontiers when they got fired, like they had started doing some basic writing for it, but I feel like a lot of the people who were assigned to the Frontiers team are still there. It seemed to be like the seasonal teams that took a lot of the hits there.
Yeah.
So,
and and no offense to those first 2 episodes, but it kind of shows a little bit.
To put it mildly.
So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, good on him. Good luck to him. I hope whatever he works on next is super cool.
We will be there, by the way. I'm very excited for what he does. Like,
Yeah.
you tell me that he's behind the weapon design in a shooter or in any kind of combat, and I'm going to be there.
Where is Certain Affinity?
Austin.
Okay. Never mind then.
Well, they have an office in Austin, which is their main headquarters, and then they have one in Toronto also, but the Toronto one's really struggling. I know that.
Yeah. Okay.
Speaking of studios struggling, Iron Galaxy fired 66 people in a last-ditch effort to save the studio.
I know, which is something they always prided themselves on, was never laying anybody off.
They were doing what Bungie was doing. They were just hiring 6 months ago.
Yeah. I know. One of our
Bossy's presenters.
Yeah. Yeah, Kate Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's a big blow, especially because they've had so many projects come out recently. I mean,
yeah, they said in their statement that a lot of the reason was their original game that they put out. What was it, Rumbleverse?
Yeah, the wrestling game. Yeah, was
so bad it got pulled within like a month and a half of coming out. It got the 6 weeks treatment.
Yeah, because Jeff Gersman was really into it, and I know he's like really good friends with a lot of those guys over there, though.
Yeah.
But he just talked to Adam Boyes about it like last week on his podcast. Adam Boyes left to go form his own consultancy or whatever.
The last stuff that they have put out, by the way, so Rumbleverse was in 2022 for 2 years. Since that, all they have done, they did Metroid Prime Remastered for the Switch, and then they did Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they've worked on since. So overall, not the greatest amount of work coming their way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because I think when you talk about a studio that ports games really well, this is one of those studios.
Yeah. I mean, they did the Borderlands games on Switch, and like, not that that's where you want to play them, but they run really well. They content complete. I mean, they ported Borderlands 2 to the Vita, right? I mean,
which was terrible. But yeah, when you look at like some of the ports that they've done,
Killer Instinct.
Well, they completely developed seasons 2 and 3 of Killer Instinct.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Think, like, a lot of us are like, oh my god, give them Killer Instinct 2.
Right.
You look at some of the games that they've done just in the last like 10 years or so. They were responsible for, the Borderlands ports. They did some of the PS3 and 360 ports for Destiny. They did a lot of the Skyrim ports were them. They did the console port for the original release of ESO. Fallout 4 VR, they worked on. They did support on Fortnite, the Crash Bandicoot trilogy for Windows, Diablo for the Switch, the Uncharted collection for Windows. They did support work on, you remember D4?
Oh God, yeah.
I loved D4, and I'm still really sad we never got a resolution to that story. It was just weird enough. It's Sweary 65, man. And they also did support on Fallout 76, which I did not know.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
But that's I mean, it's not a horrible resume though.
No, it's not.
Just man, when Rumbleverse didn't hit, that kind of sealed it for them, I think.
Yeah, that's a
As
hard
much
pill to
as I hate
swallow.
to say it, I feel like that was kind of the moment.
Yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow for them.
It really is. I feel bad. Adam
Um,
Boyes is a great guy by all accounts.
mhm. I mean, Dave Lang is great too. I mean, he's part of that video game history foundation.
Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I mean, they do a lot of work with them too. So,
Yeah, so
tough to see.
This weekend, sad layoffs and things that we're going to talk about next week on Xbox Casuals. But
Yeah, love talking about that nugget.
yeah, love having to keep revisiting this. All right, Corey, we got a couple questions we didn't get to in earlier segments because they didn't really fit. We're going to blow through those real quick. But you told me before the show you have some show and tell to do.
I do, Josh. I do. I got the Mara Sov statue.
Oh, she got he got the Mara Mommy statue.
I did, and let me tell you, it looks much better in person than it does in those photos they were promoting.
Man, those photos were rough.
Dude, they were bad.
They're bad.
This looks, I mean, it looks really good.
That looks cool.
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, it's
I might have to order that one for me.
Yeah, it was on sale on Amazon for $51, I want to say. And it's like it's one of those statues that they're like, well, we're going to charge 130 because we won't sell as many because Destiny's not as popular. So
I always wait for the Amazon sale when they go down to like half off randomly at some point.
yeah,
I'm still really waiting for the Sabathun statue to dip below 100 again, because when it does, I'm going to pull the trigger.
yeah, it was 108, and I was like, ugh.
I almost did it, and then I was like, God, I just don't have anywhere to put it. Is the problem?
I know.
So
I would have to move all the stuff on this shelf back here.
Our old friend Joe Wilson got it and was like, I have nowhere to put this. He sent me a picture of the box once, and it was just insane.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, I live in an apartment, dude. I don't have room for that.
Yeah.
But we do have a couple questions tonight. A couple of these, the main ones, really come after we had the reveal stream. Everything else that we did was pretty good. Titan writes in. Titan had so many questions this week. How do you feel about doubling or tripling down on the attunement system rather than bringing back crafting for seasonal weapons? Personally, I've had no drive to play any Revenant content because of this. I don't like it. I am so tired of this, and I think now it's even more convoluted than Tonics.
Yeah, it's
this
something.
New system slotting the carvings, and they're like fractured carvings, like, oh, you get 3 drops and then it breaks, like, is so aggravating already. I already don't like this. Not a fan, but I'm willing to stop complaining and see how it plays out in the coming weeks before I complain too much about it. I still really think that seasonal weapons should have crafting. Of all the weapons that shouldn't be that should be craftable, it needs to be seasonal first. I think seasonal should have it. Hot take, I don't think dungeons and arguably raids should be craftable. I think crafting is fine for the older raids because that gets you to go play them again. Mm-hmm. But putting crafting in the new raids, it just makes you not want to play them. Once you've gotten your red borders you care about, you're just done.
Mm-hmm.
You're done. So I don't really love that. I don't like that. I do and don't like that they're bringing it to dungeons. Either make everything craftable or nothing. Like you sit here and say, you know how our vaults are constrained. You want to know how you solve that? You make things craftable.
Yeah.
You make things craftable. You make the penalty less for us to go change our perks out, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, so. I feel like they made such a big deal about crafting, and then you're just going to take it.
They've walked it back, and that really pisses me off, because let me tell you something. I also felt the same way Titan did about Revenant and did not want to play because they're not craftable. As a result, I didn't really give a shit about those weapons. I will say I think the cadence of weapons dropping in Nether is already better.
Mm-hmm.
I already like that. I'm getting so many drops of these, and I'm gonna run Nether a lot. I'm gonna run whatever the next activities are a lot. It's already being more generous to me in terms of loot, and also it's just weapons that I actually care about. I think that was the other problem with Revenant is Revenant also didn't have a suite I cared about
Hmm.
outside of like maybe 2, possibly 3 weapons.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ironically, Echoes so far has the best suite, and guess what? They're all fucking craftable too.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice. So
Who knew?
yeah, I share the same complaint there. Um, Tiger Jesus writes in and asks, "How broken do you want the artifact mods to be?" I know this was posted last week. I haven't gotten to a lot of the really busted ones yet. I really hope they're broken. This is the last episode of the year. If this is going to be like a 6-month episode, like it's looking like, please just make them super powerful. Please let these be
Yeah.
really busted.
Make
Tune them up a little bit. Let us have fun with the game. Those of us who are still left, you can tune them just to be in PvE too.
yeah. It's just like,
There's nothing wrong with it.
yeah, just let everybody have the power fantasy they want over the course of the next few months, and
Mm-hmm.
I understand if you are expecting Apollo to be some new beginning or whatever, like you want a game that people can kind of like it be tuned to the matter of that, but like I don't know, just let people have some fun, like just let people do like the laser tag thing with that was broken forever, or just let people have some fun.
Yeah.
Be overpowered.
Let people have fun and be overpowered. I agree. I really, really, really have been enjoying it though. I think that this is a really good suite to start with, and then we've got 2 more little mini sets that are going to come out also that I think have the potential to be really awesome. And our final one is from Jiggly Panda. This isn't a question so much as an observation. Uh, Wrote in and said, with the return of the question thread, I want to leave a hot take. Lightfall wasn't as bad of a DLC as what people think it was. I said this when we reviewed it. I wasn't as down on it as other people were, but I also didn't think it was amazing. I think that the Witch Queen set such a high bar for what we should expect, and 3 of the 4 seasons leading into Lightfall were just among the best stories we had gotten, some of the best activities. We got the Revision Zero exotic quest right before Lightfall came out. We had Season of the Risen to kick off that year. We had we had the trauma dumping of Zavala, Keitel, and Crow. There were some great weapon suites in there. Like really the sore spot was plunder, and whatever that fucking mission you had to do in there repeatedly with the ruffians was. That was really the biggest point of contention, I think.
Right.
Other than that, it was a pretty kick-ass year of content. So I think coming off of that, also you got the duality dungeon and you got the Spire of the Watcher, both solid dungeons. And then you get that. It's not only just that, it's introducing a new MacGuffin. And on top of that, Callus felt like he just got kind of tossed aside really quickly. This is a villain that we've really built up to. Now, granted, he still had a better send-off than Fickrell did. But I can understand the complaints that are there. I do agree. I don't think it was as bad, but there were definitely a lot of things they did there that did not help them. And them only having a year to develop that versus the year and a half for Witch Queen and for the final shape, it was felt.
Right.
It was felt. I also think Defiance coming out and being as lackluster as it was right off the bat did not help that perception at all.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty significant issue. I will say we had one other comment. Illustrated Deo wrote in and said the last episode of Revenant was really a whole lot of nothing and a letdown story wise. So I completely agree. At least there was Chatterwhite, a shader I had in D1. Yeah, totally agree. That little bento event was interesting, but not like life altering. The biggest thing was get in there and get your fucking cataphract. If you did not manage to get a cataphract out of that event, I don't know what to tell you. You could play for 5 minutes and get one. That is how free it was. I played for 25 minutes and walked away with a cataphract and 75 spoils of conquest. So
Right.
I was balling. That's all I cared about. Other than that, I think I spent my bento tokens on mementos for the like Guardian games and stuff because I don't give a shit about trying to earn them during those events. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really my only other critique, I think. So
Hmm.
it's
Yeah.
a problem. It's a problem, but I do think that Heresy has taken steps to mitigate that feeling already.
Yeah.
It's always going to come down to, and I was saying this earlier this weekend, the Discord, I was saying this privately to friends and in DMs and stuff. It's great that we had such a kick-ass opening. It's great that the Nether is fun now. Is the Nether still going to be good when I have to keep playing this 8 weeks from now?
Right.
Is this storyline going to keep the momentum going or not? Because we've seen it fall off this time. We never really got there with Echoes. We've seen it fall off so many times in the past in seasonal storylines. I mean, even going back to like seasons we really enjoyed, it's always been rough, and it feels like, oh my god, this is the best opening to a season we've maybe ever had. Can we keep this going? And them going back to weekly story releases, I think is really going to help.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But if it's just going to be another like, oh, do what Sloan asks you to do for 2 weeks, go do a run of the Nether and come back and tuck the Tablet of Ruin Guardian, then we're going to have problems. Like, I may do a complete about face in 2 weeks. Who knows? But if you can keep this momentum going throughout Act 1 and then into Act 2 and 3, if the dungeon can hit and the exotic mission can hit, like we're talking about, this would be the new standard for what we expect from a season that is supposed to help maintain you after a mini expansion.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get something like, if we're going to get something like this as the season and then still getting into the light at some point, both I'm going to call them semesters, both semesters of a year, then that bodes kind of well for you from a content perspective. If something like this can sustain you for 8-9 weeks, great.
Right.
Great, because you'd have a raid in there or a dungeon in there, and then you'll have updates to that raid. You'll have the end of the lights of the year, and you'll have a pantheon at the end. Like that. That is not a horrible release schedule for content for a
No, it's
game
really
that
not.
is admittedly on the downswing and probably starting to wind down its life. So,
Or find new life in a different way, I guess.
yeah.
But I agree with you, though. Oh.
So, but with that, Corey, why don't you go ahead and get us on out of here?
Yeah. I want to thank everybody for watching or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals, a pretty positive one.
The most positive we've been in a long time.
Yeah. I think so far for good reason.
Yeah.
You can join the Discord. You can check out Xbox Casuals, the other podcast that we do. Josh was on the Boss Rush podcast. You can check that out. That episode is coming out on Thursday, so you can check that out. And yeah, Josh, thank you for your time as always. Appreciate you. Everybody out there, we appreciate you as well. You know where to find us. Yeah, just respect everybody, be kind to one another, and a lot of people are going to need it soon or now.
Mm-hmm.
So just be kind and respect
I do have
everybody.
one more thing to add.
Yeah,
with the dungeon coming out this weekend,
mm-hmm.
We will have a dungeon review.
Yes.
My goal is to do it. My goal is to review it on Sunday while my partner goes out for the day. So if all goes according to plan and I get a clear, I'm planning to review it on Sunday afternoon.
Cool.
If not, you'll have it early next week, but it will hit your feed at some point before next Thursday.
Cool.
So,
yeah. And on that note, I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.